Welcome to Caverna Draconis. I'm Alex the Curator, and today I'm asking the question: have you ever wondered from where our tonality arrived? It certainly did not fall ready-made from the skies, and there's probably nothing metaphysical about it. Again, it rather seems that there was more of a historic process that led to our tonal system. So again, let's go to work and dig a bit deeper, and again down to ancient Greece, where tones got organized into scales with fixed steps. The musical system of the ancient Greeks was developed gradually. Originally, okay, I know that is a bit of an anachronism, coming up with a treble clef, but what can we do? So, it was more like a five-tone system. The addition of more notes to this pentatonic scale in the 8th century changed it to a seven-tone system. With transposed root note, there would come a full octave, which in turn constitutes the base of later tone systems up to our contemporary tonality and even beyond to the concept of atonality. In those good and golden old times, the main musical instrument was the lyre, and we can safely assume that the music system was at least influenced, if not based on it. Even the names of the notes corresponded to the lyre string before they got assigned letters. I will soon go more into detail. Moreover, the descending motion of scales, in contrast to the ascending scales as we know them nowadays, may be attributed to the position of the strings when the instrument was being held. Like the god Apollo was doing it with his left arm. Right. And then he even said to it. So, the scales were subdivided into two groups made up of 4 notes each, which in practice meant 4 strings on a lyre. String in turn, by the way, means chordy in Greek, from where we get the word chord. 4 means tetra, and here we are. Our notorious tetrachords were originally 4 successive strings on the lyre. Talking about strings. Eventually the number of strings varied between 3 and 18. And the trichord, guess what that was? No, it doesn't have too much to do with the tri-visit tournament, sorry for that. It's just a lyre with 3 strings. These strings were named after their position on the instrument, and in analogy to the position of the strings, the notes were named after the strings that produced them, and not the other way around. And here we are, the trichord. Niti, the lowest, corresponding to E. Messi, the middle, corresponding to A, and Ipati, topmost, corresponding to the higher E. Please, for the time being, accept those correspondences. I will certainly make another vid focusing on this topic, but for now, elaborating of it would cause our nutshell to overflow. Then, more were added. Paramesy, beyond the middle, think of parapsychology, corresponding to B. Paranity, beyond the lowest, corresponding to D. Now this one, keep it in mind, I will refer to it when trying to elaborate on how and why the names of the modes got reorganized in the Middle Ages. And a bit later we also got lichanos, of the index finger. Could there be a clearer reference to practical stuff? This one was placed next to the middle and corresponded to G. So, the last strings to be added were triti, the third, corresponding to C, and pariati, corresponding to F. And finally, we arrive at a full diatonic scale. Since the world has to wait for another couple of centuries, Until the well-tempered tuning came up, which deserves a bit in its own right, we assumed that the natural method of tuning was used. This means tones and semitones as steps were not all equal, but varied slightly according to their position in the three tetrachords that were created, and each tetrachord was named after its origin. Tuning was, by the way, very important, as harmony was connected to the Greeks' thoughts and mythology with the music of the spheres. Now, tetrachords according to their origin. We have the tetrachord E, F, G, A, which was named Dorian. The next one, from D to G, Phrygian. And from C to F, Lydian. So, who were these guys, Dorians, Phrygians, Lydians? Well, let's start with the Dorians. That was an ancient Greek tribe, mostly famous for overthrowing Messenian civilization, and they settled mainly in the Peloponnese and Crete. So, they cultivated the Dorian dialects, and that was quite a warrior culture. Well, let's think of Sparta. Right, and of course their columns, Temple of Apollo in ancient Corinth. So it is still there. If you have chance, just have a look. It's still beautiful. So, Phrygians, they were also a tribe. So we are very lucky because earliest tradition of Greek music derives from Phrygia, and it transmitted through the Greek colonies in Anatolia and included the Phrygian mode, which was considered to be warlike in ancient music. They also produced another novelty. It was the aulos, a reed instrument with two pipes. Oh yeah, and they had their characteristic Phrygian cap. So for those who like history, have a look at some French Revolution paintings, and yeah, pay a bit of attention to the headgear of certain guys. Aha, no, this is what I wanted to see, the aulos, this particular Phrygian music instrument. So, what comes next? The Lydians. Right. So, these were commercial people, and, well, what can I say? They were the first to establish permanent retail shops. Quite progressive. And they were also famous for inventing money as a medium of exchange. So we still have some of them in the museum. Quite interesting, by the way. They were made of electron, which is an alloy of gold and silver. Well, think about that. Okay, the music system was characterized by the use of 7 modes, which then were called harmonie, harmonies, and not only by 2 as in our major-minor system that kept prevailing until present. The mode did not only define the scale, but also the style in which the respective music was supposed to be played. So think of Dorian, warlike, and so on. Each mode had 2 tetrachords linked to a tone. So the following modes got established. Dorian, E to E. Hypodorian, A to A. So what is that Hypodorian? So we all know the prefix hypo, especially when it comes to hypothermia, hypogeum. So it is the under Dorian. So as you can see, Dorian, the proper Dorian, starts from E, 1/5 lower. You start the Hypodorian, so it's the under Dorian. The same applies to the other modes of Phrygian from D to D, Hypophrygian from G to G. Lydian, Hypo-Lydian, and the only mode that was not derived from a Greek tribe, that was Mixolydian. In fact, this was invented by the poetess Sappho. So I guess that some of you who came across modes as a part of studying music theory are feeling quite familiar with the names of the modes, but simultaneously might be slightly irritated when looking at the pitches of these modes, or to put it simply, names and modes seem to be mixed up and we might wonder which version would be the correct one. Well, I have to tell you, both of them are. It is just that in the course of history, between antiquity and our era, so to speak, somewhere on the timeline, something must have happened that changed the labels. And this something happened, you might have guessed already, in the Middle Ages. In the following vid, I will dig deeper into this matter. Spoiler alert. It all started when Boethius was sitting in death row as a political prisoner. I hope you found this interesting. Don't feel shy to like, share and subscribe. I thank you for your time, and I will certainly see you again at Caverna Draconis.